Welcome to DJ Hustle Podcast. Special announcement today, man. We got one of the legendaries in the building from the Bay, Gary Archer. What's happening with you, Gary?
Come on, hustle. You know, everything's good over here, man. Loving life to the fullest. Sometimes I feel bad telling people how good I'm doing. I'm so blessed. God
You
is
are
good.
blessed, man. You are blessed, man. So
no doubt.
So Gary, man, it's a blessing to have you on the podcast, bro. You've been doing great things in the Bay. Give people your background, because people see you and they see your face and they know who you are, but they don't know your background in this hip hop and what you've been doing for artists around the country and especially in the Bay Area, man.
No doubt. Well, you know, started off as a young kid. I used to rap myself. Me and my brother was the DJ at the time, and actually got a deal. Me and my friends got a deal back in, I want to say 91, 92 with Columbia Records. We had a group called Lightside, right? And it kind of, at that moment, I started realizing I didn't understand how the business worked, right? So people tell you, especially at labels, oh, we like you a lot, come sign this deal. And then all of a sudden they want you to do something they have in mind and it has nothing to do with what you wanted to, right? So we never put a record out with them. And then I kind of fell back and started managing my brother, who's a DJ, Jim Archer from the Bay, and started getting gigs, getting small gigs left to right like that. And back, I want to say 97, 98, we did this remix vinyl service called Strictly Hits, Lethal West. So Strictly Hits was the label, and we used to do these vinyls where my brother invented the 8-bar intro and actually put it on vinyl to make it DJs to mix easy. And I actually made a lot of radio edits first before the label. Like the label always had their single, but my brother being a trendsetter, he's like, yo, these are the records I want, and I want to play them on my show, right? So it started off first just making records because you couldn't play MP3s there at the time. So we ended up making 100 records just so him and his friends could have them, right? Like, so now him and his friends could DJ having them. And next thing you know, stores were calling us like, yo, how do we get those records?
Right.
Hold on. So that it turned into a giant company for us where we started doing big ass series called like Lethal Weapon, Top Secret, Strictly for the Dreads, where we take dope ass reggae acapellas, put them over like dope ass hip hop beats. And we do like Strictly for the Breaks, like break records for DJs, party records, anthems, like things that a DJ would like, right? And at the time it was vinyl. So a DJ had to carry 1,000 records everywhere he went. So by being able to like almost like, I don't know, A&R a 8-song piece of vinyl, DJs were like, fuck, bro, I'm gonna be able to carry these 30 records and I'm good.
Yeah.
So it turned into not only having something they could use, but we were also solving a problem like that's real difficult. And as well as, it's not like now where music's real available, right? Like your local record store didn't have the 12-inch and all these things were going on, right? So as we did that, I ended up, we produced this girl named Angelina out of San Jose. My brother did, which is the High Energy at the time, like started blowing up. And then we signed this Filipino R&B group called Interlude and One Voice, did these 2 Filipino singing groups. And that's where I was getting my feet wet in like running labels, right? We're like, oh shit, trying to figure this label thing out. Right. And then I ended up signing Mr. Fab when he was 18 years old. Wow. So I find Mr. Fab when he's 18 years old, sign him to the label. And we actually were able to use this vinyl service to actually finance everything. Wow. Right. And it was crazy. Like just being, this pre-internet, like really like it is. So it wasn't this big Google search. You had at the most yellowpages.com was the most you had, right? It wasn't.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm just trying to build this database. And as my brother's a DJ and we had this DJ service, the records, I was actually seeking out the biggest DJs in all the markets that on the radio, not on the radio. And I'm trying to get a hold of them and just send them these records for free because I knew the power of influence back then. I'm like, yo, if Funk Master Flex has my records and he's playing my records on Hot 97, every other DJ in New York's like, how do I get that record? Right. So we started doing that. And my brother's smart as he is early in the game, he's like, gee, as we're sending them out, after about 2 months of sending all these records out, I started calling the radio stations, leaving messages for these big ass DJs. And if radio, you're like, you get a number, you call, no one ever checks, no one ever calls, no one back. So I start calling. I'm calling all these big ass stations, leaving voicemails in the mailboxes like Funk Flex and big ass DJs at the time. DJ Drama, Khaled was small, like Felly Fails, and all. And no one really knows me yet, but they've been getting my records, I know. So all of a sudden I leave a message. I'm like, hey, this is Gary Archer from Oakland, man. Strictly Hits. I've been sending you those cool ass records, bro. If you get a moment, hit me on the phone. Left my number, and I got so many phone calls the next day, like, bro, what the fuck? Where are these records? How do I get more of these? Like, it turned into like a movie for us, right? And I'm like, so my brother's like, see if you get feedback for the records.
Right.
So way back then, I got these 8 records, 8 songs on a piece of thing. I'm like, bro, if you mind, when I send you that shit, I'm going to send a sheet in there and just give me some feedback on last week's record. I don't care if you play it or not. That's none of my business. Just let me know what you thinking. So we started collecting all this feedback. Right. And at the time, we started becoming pretty big. And at the time, other people started doing vinyl like that. They're like, oh, fuck. There's some other people that started blowing, trying to do these things like Wicked Mixes, and some other people were doing it, right? And so then at the time, the vinyl record store was big. Like the Bay Area had like 10 vinyl record stores, right? Yeah. And this one record store, not to say no name, they started making their own records, right, as well. And me being tied into the DJ scene, I had DJs working at all the stores, right? Like, I already know, like, yo, what's moving, what's not. I'm trying to be, future forward looking, like, what the fuck? So next thing you know, I get a call like, yo, the feds are in here. I go, what? He's like, yeah, the feds are raiding us for the records. FCC violation, the whole RIAA and shit, right? And I'm like, what? Holy shit. So at the time, I'm like, oh shit. I hit my brother up and he's like, bro, go rent a big ass fucking 18 giant ass fucking U-Haul, right? Giant one, and put all the records inside there. And still sell records. So we boom, we got the thing, we loaded all the shit in the truck and we parked it right around the corner, right from the office, like right around the corner. And then I got my man in the back of the truck. I'm sending him text messages and he's loading boxes, right, for the UPS. Next thing you know, the feds pull up. The feds pull up to our office. Boom. He tried to tell us, you don't want me, you want them. They're the big guys. So they pull up to our shit, bro, and they come raiding in our shit, and we ain't got none of those records.
Wow.
All I got is Mr. Fab records, Adriana records, One Voice records, right? That's all I got. And at the time, my brother's doing giant remixes. So like he for like the Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears. My brother did all the rhythmic mixes that got on rhythmic radio for all these pop groups, right? So we got all these platinum records all around the fucking office, right? And it's early, like I said, early in the day, 2000 maybe. So the feds, I'm like, yo, you guys are crazy, bro. We're really in the industry. Look at the walls, right? And then, so they left. And at the time, my brother was the music director for 94.9 in the Bay Area. and he just got promoted to be the APD and music director for Wild 94.9 and KMEL. Wow. Owned by Clear Channel, both of them, right? So right in this time, my brother gets promoted, and it's in that R&R magazine, right? The R&R magazine where they talk about what's moving and shit. Right. So they have this big article, and then they have a quote from the dude that owns Universal, the two brothers. Oh my gosh, Monty Littman. Okay. So Monty Littman and his brother were the owners of Universal Records. Mm-hmm. Okay. In that quote, it says, man, congratulations to Jazzy Jim. This dude's so forward thinking with the way he picks records. It's no doubt that he became what he is, right? Right. And then my brother seen that and said, bro, we got to go holler at Monty Littman and see if we get some clearances for these records. Yeah. So my brother set up a meeting with Monty, and he brought Monty the records with the cool covers, all the shit with the records. He's looking at them and he's like, yo, these are dope. Yo, this is dope. And then my brother slid him the feedback. He's like, yo, this is the feedback we've been collecting on your records, right? And he's like, right. And he's looking at the DJ names, right? And he's like, yo, how you get the feedback from them? He's like, yo, this is big. And my brother's like, well, because it's not coming from you, it's coming from me. And they feel like they have something like that's kind of like, I don't know, ahead, like kind of they're a part of something, in a sense. And he was like, yo, how much it costs to do that? So then it turned into the labels paying us to put records on. And Jim's like, you can't pay me to put a record on, but if I put a record on, I'll let you pay me. But
Right.
but you're not gonna start programming my whole what I got going on, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that started from, bro. And then Fab starting to get bigger, and and then we start to move. We're moving around the country. The hyphy movement started to become big.
Yeah.
And that's around the time I met you. And then, so as you see, we met you out there. That's pre all this big internet shit. And it's because we knew how important it was to move around. And because of the vinyl stuff, that's how I had a lot of relationships with DJs around the country. So we actually used to borrow my brother's Shell gas card, get in the I used to have a truck with Fab's face on it that we wrapped, and just leave for days at a time, living out the Shell gas station with the card.
Yep.
We drive into these cities because I knew a DJ, and they'd be like, "What are you doing here?" We're like, "No, we're just here to fucking figure it out." And DJs start to fall like, and so then it started to put us in a great position. And then at the time, World Star started coming out, right? World Star was bubbling, and Q. It's right around the time that we released a video called Ghost Riding.
Right.
That's right when YouTube come out. YouTube's brand new. Twitter's fairly new at the time. Maybe not even out yet, about to come out, and we released this Ghost Rider song, and that shit starts going crazy. This video.
You guys were before Twitter, though. You guys were before Twitter because you guys we had no way. It was, I think, it was even before MySpace. I think you guys really had it bubbling in the hoods because it wasn't social media for that.
When MySpace came out was around 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Right around that time, like when we were on MySpace, it was like. We blew up fast because we already been to all these cities.
Yeah.
So people were actually trying to find Fab, like, yo, this dude came, man. He's from Oakland. So MySpace let you look in cities, and it was they had a great like they didn't have an algorithm. They're like, bro, find what you want. If you're following them, you're gonna see it. And that's like they were dope. So that kind of helped push us into the next lane. And this Ghost Rider thing came out, and we started getting these unique opportunities from like David Letterman, CNN, they was like, yo, we want to talk to you about this ghost riding shit. And as that starts to move, Q starts his World Star, and he's like, yo, let me put the video up on my site. I'm like, what's your site? And he's telling me, oh, I got this site where I put videos up. And I'm like, word? Yeah. Word. And so we do that. And then other sites start popping up, like West Side Riders, like all these other sites. And no one was really fucking with the Bay Area or no West Coast. People had a website that was from the West Coast.
But wait, hold on right there. When did you get that aha moment? Because I know how you think. So when did you get the aha moment? You're like, nobody's fucking with us. You know what? We got to do something different. So when was that moment for you?
It was when the hyphy movement started taking off because I spent 5-6 years trying to explain people this pot is bubbling, be a part of what's going on, and then we had to actually do it ourselves. And then hella people jumped on and said, "Oh, I knew." But I remember I had multiple conversations with these people, and in the time, like just because I don't challenge people's no's, they forget they already told me no, right? So like they're like, oh, they're thinking they've been along the whole time, and my hype is like that was the moment. Like if I want people to respect this West Coast, I have to take reign because like I call DJs and I'm pushing a record and they're like, yo, G, I fuck with that record. Send me 5 other Bay records so I could do a set. And I'm like, wow, why can't you just play my record? And they're like, nah, it's got to be this, and I understood it, but I'm also saying that's the problem. We're trying to segregate music the way we used to segregate people, right? So my hype is I said, I got to do this West Coast website. We're going to call We the West. And actually, that's how I actually started meeting Snoop. Snoop and the bakery dude was like, what's his name? Dada. Dada hit me like, yo, we fucking own We the West. They're going like, yo, fuck that shit. And I'm like, they're like on gang, right? I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm like, I'm not barely knowing him. Like I met Snoop and I'm telling him about We the West, right? Like, I'm like, We the West is dope. And then he's like, yo, that's dope. And I actually gave him a sweatshirt and he had it, We the West. And I got a picture with it, right? And then Dada hits me I said, bro. And I'm like, bro, I'm good. If you like, I ain't selling merch. Go do your thing, dog. And I try to explain what I'm doing and then it became cool. But it started off with like, who the fuck are these people trying to write? And which lets me know people care, right? So I was like, so we built that in a way where we could, just do the thing I'm talking about. Right. And then so as we're doing that, that's that moved into other people starting websites in the Bay Area, like the Thizzler and some other people that actually had staff and like something to devote to it. I didn't have no staff. It was just me and my friend Dutch. And
Right.
I actually push music all over the place. I'm actually trying to post on my spare time. I have a couple people like yourself that have logins that have access, but you ain't gonna bubble like that. You can only bubble, right, if you're fucking grabbing the steering wheel and driving it, right? And I was like,
Driving down the hallway. Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it was costing me a lot of money to have the website open, and I didn't feel comfortable charging people like the rest of the other people to post site. You know, I didn't want to get into that game of it. So, you know, even though it's still alive, I kind of fell back on that. And that's when I was like, you know what's needed is every artist I talk to, they want to know what I think about their record. They don't care what I could do for them at the moment. They're like, yo, listen to my record, listen to my record, listen to my record. Like, they're not even prepared to understand what to do with the information I give them.
No.
So people like myself or yourself in this position, we've already been down that game, and we've already talked to hundreds of artists and gave them an hour each on the same thing of they call you 2 weeks later with the same question and not did one thing you suggested and be wondering, right? And it's like, I'm like, how do I make this easier for me or people like Hustle or people like my brother or DJ Amen to open my email and give me feedback? They want to give me feedback, but it's really hard to give me feedback in an email. One, they got to open it, listen to it. Then they got to type paragraphs to really explain a record. And no one really, even if you love me, you ain't going to type 2-3 paragraphs. Like if me and you got on the phone, Hustle, we're going to talk about a record, right? It's da 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 da. It's over. But an email, it's going to be like, if you like the record, you're like, yo, G, the record's cool. I'm going to see what I can do. And now I'm sitting back like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean in real life? Like in real life, in real life, what does that mean? Like, okay, I'm close. And if a lot of artists and labels fall into the maybe game, they fall in love with the maybe. They fall in love with the information, and forgetting how busy Hustle is on what Hustle's doing. And a DJ never walks in a building with his playlist in the order that he's playing it, unless he already did the mix. Otherwise, it's really random. He has an idea what he's trying to fucking play tonight, but this record and this moment decides what I'm doing next moment, right? So I'm like, how do I make it easy for my big friends to give me feedback? And I'm like, right now there's a system like, you know, there's a 5-star system, the like button, right? And, you know, YouTube's out, and I'm like, I could have 1 million views, 10,000 likes, and there's got to be money there. But if I don't know what they like about it, I can't repeat it.
No.
And if I don't know what they don't like about it, I can't change it. If it's just I don't know if they kind of liked it a lot, their favorite. And I'm like,
it's a different game now.
What if I could split the like button up and be like, how much did you like this about that? So first it was like, how much do you like the ice cream? I was like, yo, that's a better like button. How much do you like it? Then I'm like, but then that still doesn't, I don't know. What if it's chocolate ice cream and how much you like it, and tomorrow I give you cherry ice cream and you don't like it as much? And I'm like, no, you like it. And like, no, I like chocolate ice cream, right? So I'm like, yo, how do I get deeper? I'm like, you know what? I said, you can do as many as you want, but I think there's everything has like a core 4 things that matter to it, right? And I'm like, so in a song, I was thinking, what matters when people listen to a song? What matters is the beat. So instead of do I like the beat, because when I talk to Hustle about a beat, you're not like, hey, G, I like the beat. You're going to be like, you're really going to tell me how much you like the beat. You're going to be like, yo, I think, that beat right there, you're going to have something more than like, something else attached to it. So I'm like, okay, boom, how much you like the beat? Okay, how much you like the lyrics? How much you like the hook? Hit potential of the record in your world. Hit potential. And I'm like, yo, I think people, if we let people rate records like that from DJs to normal people, not only would Spotify and Apple have a better predictive mechanism, because you know what I liked about this song. Not I hit the thumbs up and now you putting it like it's my favorite song, like every other thumbs up, right? So now I don't want to. So like, you know, so what I did is build an app for that to show off the gauge, and I'm like, you know what I'll do? I'll put some of my friends in like an expert panel to where now people could actually hit them in the app and they can use the gauge and get feedback, right? And I was like, I would have used that, and a lot of artists acted like they wanted to use that, but they really not interested in moving the career forward. Like they want some public facing thing that the world is. They'd much rather be on a review show with 100 people watching it than real feedback from Hustle that be on do 7 to 9 DJ events a week. Like don't understand the difference of values. So as we're building that, I'm like, you know what? The whole world needs a better like button. The whole world needs a better 5 stars. So we started to gauge everything. So now we have the API where you can create your custom gauge. So for instance, if it's a restaurant, like on Yelp, I'm a super Yelp user. I Yelp, I look, and now I'm looking at a Mexican restaurant and there's 4,000 fucking reviews and it's 4.5 stars. I could assume it's a good restaurant, right, Hustle? But I don't know what the restaurant's good at until what? Now I got to click on them reviews and see what people are saying, because I don't know what your 4.5 stars means. But what if the restaurant, instead of stars, had ambiance, service, cleanness, and value?
A gauge.
And now I instantly know what this restaurant's great at, what they could use some help at. And then I could ask my wife, like, what matters? Oh, you know what matters? I just want dope ass ambiance and food. I don't care about the service. Or tonight I care about the service. Now I don't have to
Man.
How people get this type. So we've been deploying the API right now, like the pop station in the Bay Area, using the gauge to pick records on their website for their audience. So as well as we're working with a lot of auto companies and a lot of other things that we have some NDAs, that things are popping off in the new year that is super exciting for a kid like me. You know what I mean?
Man, you doing a good job, man. To me, you are a visionary, bro. Well, since I've met you, you've always had, like, if I have 4 ideas, you had 8. You know what I mean? It's like, Hustle, you should do this. Hustle, you should do that. Every time I talk to you, you got something in your hand. Look at this. Look at that. Hit me up. We'll talk about this. It never fails. You always come with great ideas, and you don't just have an idea and don't do anything with them. You have ideas and you move with them. You have a whole movement with you. So how you keep yourself entrenched in that creative space and you keep pushing it forward?
I think at a young age, I always wanted to be a lawyer, hustle. Like when I was younger, I always wanted to be a lawyer, and I didn't decide to act on that until I was about 20, like 19, 20, about to get out of high school, and then I find out there's all kinds of shit I could have did before that time that have prepared me to actually maybe 2 years ahead of the process, but no one would tell me that, right? And I'm like, so I got frustrated, right? I'm like, you know what? F that. I'm just gonna do whatever I do. And as years go by, my art of negotiation and my point, a talent of being the one that helped discuss or help translate, like it became, and it's haunted me about how many of my people, friends and non-friends, that I could have saved their lives if I would have been a lawyer and not even did this music shit. Even though I saved a lot of people's lives doing music, but it haunts me. So because of that, there's no idea that I have that I think is a good idea that I'm never gonna move on, and it's to failure, and it's not like, oh, Gary does 100 things. Yeah, I do 100 things, but I only do one thing at a time at a certain time. Like it's the digital era. So my phone, my other phone with my calendar, that alarms pop off at like 2:45 p.m. and it says, yo, the next 20 minutes do this. Like all my big ass shit, I don't do it to exhaustion. And that's why a lot of people to me fail, because they have an idea, then they go run, and they're running, and then you run all day long and you turn around, you say, I didn't go nowhere, and you're exhausted. So you tell yourself, this might not be what it is. And so I used to do the same thing when I used to get my posters. I used to go out that night and hang up 2,000 posters all night long. Wake up in the morning and be so juiced. And by that afternoon, 85% of them are tore down because the city's like, yo, that's just too much.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize, fuck, you can't get too far ahead of yourself of this eye because you ain't even got it all figured out right now.
Right.
But I never allow myself to all the way figure it out before I start, because I think the information's within the movement.
Yeah.
Like, start moving, because that's going to cause you to talk to other people doing what you're doing, and then you allow yourself to be wrong.
Right.
Like, I always allow myself to be wrong, but I'm very rarely wrong twice about the same thing. But I have no problem not being the expert. And to me, we're always taught this persona of, no, you can't show that. No, you can't seem like you don't know that. Like, and it's always been my advantage because people think I'm super sharp. But that's only because I've always been able to say, oh, I don't know what that is. What's that? To absorb it. Like, I take information and apply it.
Right.
A lot of people don't take information and apply it. They just take information and respond. Right. So
you've been a trailblazer, bro. I mean, you're a trailblazer in the Bay, bro, and out here in LA too as well. So maybe you didn't do what you wanted to do as a lawyer, but right now you are a lawyer to me when it comes to the Bay Area and that music, because you make sure you put your Mac hand down, and no matter what you put your mind to, I believe you gonna keep doing your thing, bro. To me, you the ultimate hustler, just like myself, man. You hustle hard. You're a lawyer for the streets of the Bay, bro. So don't sit there and say, nah, I didn't want to do it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
I know that, but that helps drive me, and and I have a couple self things I do that maybe might help a couple people, bro. Like, I come from the hood, and we're taught we're supposed to be too strong for anything and get through anything, but mental health is a real thing. Like don't bottle that shit up inside. Like, even if you don't want to talk to somebody else, like myself, every morning before I take a shower, I have a conversation with myself in that mirror, looking at myself dead in the eyes and making sure I'm serious, and I'm looking back, and I take a shower, get out, and I say something again, and I actually touch the mirror with my hand, give myself a high five, and hold myself responsible.
Yeah.
I said, man, hold on, man. This ain't just so, like, knowing I'm gonna have to go see that guy tomorrow.
Right.
It helps to get my shit together. But a lot of people never even have a conversation with themselves and understand they have that much power with themselves. Exactly. A lot of people are comfortable with letting themselves down. I'm not.
I'm not either. Not at all.
I'm not. There's too many people that depend on every word I do, every movement I do to further what they do. Yeah. And like it's very big for me not to give up because it got hard, right? Like I didn't wait for life to be not so hard before I decided to be happy.
Right. Like, you gotta be happy all the time. Gotta get it together.
It's not a reaction. And you get what you give. Like this world loves people trying to do the impossible. Yeah. If they're not crying about it. As long as they're not crying about it. No one's here saying, oh, I'm digging, oh, it sucks. No one's here that shit. But if you digging and people are like, what you digging for? Like, bro, really? I'm about to dig this moat around this house. Every day you see this motherfucker digging, by the fourth day you see him digging, you proud of him.
You gonna help him dig. You know what I'm saying?
and that's what my daddy taught me. Like when we broke down the car in Frisco when I was young, and my dad said, get out this motherfucker and start pushing it. I'm like, Dad, we can't push this car up the hill. I might be 7. I said, the hill. And he said, son, right now you're gonna learn a lesson. If we sit in this car and I put my hazard lights on, the whole world's gonna pull behind me honking their horn and calling us names. Me and you get out this car and start pushing this car, strangers will pull over and help us.
I've been there.
And that's why I know that you can't always look for the light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta light your own light sometimes. You can't wait for the world to recognize your greatness. Greatness sounds like a different language. You have to have the patience to translate. Because everyone's used to bullshit. So it's hard to understand something just because it seems too simple. They're like, no way, hold on, what else is there? And you're like, nah, it's that simple. You get up and you be happy. Like, I was taught. So that's just my approach, Hustle. Like, it's about reputation. Yeah. It's not something you wish. You can't wish for a reputation. The the root word of reputation is what? Repeat. You are what you do. No matter how much you want to be a DJ, unless you DJ, your reputation's not that.
Right.
Your reputation would be a wannabe DJ. Because and that's just what it is. If I'm out there lying in the streets, my reputation is what? Liar in the streets. No matter what I want it to be. So a lot of people don't understand. You do something all the time, it's bound to make sense. You don't even know, you don't even have to be able to work out. But if you go to the gym every day, you're gonna get buff. No matter what. Even if you know how, because it's gonna end up happening.
Yeah.
People are gonna see it, they're gonna start helping that you never thought as well. It's just gonna happen. Consistency is what changes the world. Like nothing could happen like this and mean something. That's all.
Man, I'm surprised, man. You haven't wrote a book yet, man. Come on, man. Give me a book soon, man. Come on.
I got a couple books I'm almost done with, bro. For real, for really. You know, and that reminds me of something I do in Oakland at the Youth Uprising Youth Center in Oakland. I had this dream class where teaching kids it's okay to dream, and then actually explaining what a dream is. I didn't realize that kids in inner cities like in East Oakland, where this is at, where I'm at, the first day I asked them to write down their dream, hustle, and they pass it forward, and I grabbed the paper and I'm like, "Hey, Michael, where's Michael?" Right here. I'm like, "Michael, what's your dream?" He's like, "Oh man, you got my paper. Read that." I'm like, "Nah, you might say it different than you wrote it."
Right.
Right. And then he's like, "Oh man, I want to be a police officer." I'm like, "Word? That's what's up. How come?" And he's like, because, a police officer killed my brother, shot my brother, and he wasn't armed. And if I'm a police officer, I could kind of help explain what goes on in these, I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, that's deep. I said, bro, I said, as great as that sounds, that's not a dream. I turned around and I wrote police officer, right? Police officer. And I wrote goal. Next to that, I said, solve the police issue with community, dream. Next to that.
Yep. That's it.
And then little by little, I want to be this and like this. And then what we take the next 4 classes, the whole class goes one by one on the list, and we all get on our phones and figure out what's the step-by-step to do it. Because a goal is something that's been done before. Those are easy. Some have more steps. But a dream is something that's never been done. And you need a dream attached to your goal so you're willing to go through the bullshit it takes.
Man.
And so everyone leaves with like 6 to 10 careers, 0 to hero. This is what you do.
That's what you got to do every time. And kids are relentless and resilient too, man. They have dreams that sometimes they get suppressed, and it takes people like yourself to go in the community, man. And
come on, the white man in the middle of Oakland teaching these kids about like reality. Like what's crazy is like there's really a stigma about white people, bro. Like and I feel the same way about the way white America treats a lot of things, tries to act like it's whatever. I'm a minority in a minority society, right? So I see how just by the 3rd class, kids done changed their whole outlook on people.
Yeah, because you got soul,
Gary. In general.
Gary, you got soul, bro. You got soul. You got hustle. You got reality. You got reality. You a teacher. I'm gonna start calling you the Gary Archer, KRS-One, the teacher. Come on, man.
Come on, baby. Man.
You know what I'm saying? You doing good. You doing God's work and great work. You know what I'm saying?
I'm blessed to be able to, man. I'm blessed.
Push good records. You're teaching kids about the community. You helping them dream. You helping them write goals out. Man, what? I can see you doing a movie, man. Come on, Gary.
Man, someday the movie's getting better, man. Movie's getting better. But I very much know the beginning of the movie is more important than the end of the movie, and everyone needs to hear that that's watching this. Your beginning of the movie is so much more important than the end. No one cares about the end of the movie if that's all they saw. And too many people nowadays just show up with their trophies, man. And that's bragging. That's bragging. But let me fall in love with your movie.
Yeah.
Anything you got, man, the beginning of the movie where I feel like I'm part of the beginning. Like that's my music trick all the time. I tell these people, man, let these people be a part of the movie.
Yeah.
The beginning.
That's real talk.
If I'm part of a movie hustle, I'm gonna watch the whole movie with my 100 friends and wait for my name to go up in the credits, dog, and point to it.
There it is. You know how
So
big that is to see your name on credit?
what? I know what it. Come on. So to give that, it's easier than people think to give that power to the normal person that works at Starbucks or works at the gas station that
Yeah.
drives to the factory, right? Like it's real. To me, that's also really I like to make people feel good. Hustle. That's all. Let's do that. Let's just stop right there. That's what I do.
Who are you pushing now, man? I mean, I know you got Fab. What is your newest? Who is the hottest artist right now in the Bay? To Oakland, to Vallejo, to San Francisco. Who's the
There's a few.
San
Let's
Jose?
say So you got All Black is big. All Black is doing big. Larry June is doing great right now. My man Stunner Man is really making a giant move with the bench press on 4-5 on me. Look like I'm bench pressing. That's doing big.
Cool.
Big Rich is back managing. That's big. There's a lot of youngsters, man, that are making the move. It's just those are the ones actually getting more than just Bay Area love, right?
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot. There's a King Sam, young kid named King Sam. There's this girl that I'm working with named Trap Star Avi. She's young. She's pushing. She's getting a lot of support.
Okay.
I'm working with this kid named Danielle from Portland. He's 19, and
Okay.
we just released his EP called 82nd. And when I say superstar hustle, like he's probably got already 12 million streams on his EP, dog. He got songs with 5 million streams already on it. 19 years old, and he's sounds like nothing on the planet. Like he's like just special. Like just just the world always just lets special stuff fall in front of me, and I just it don't got to be nighttime for me to see a star. Hear me? I'm like, what? I'm a modern day astronomer. I'm like, let's go. I see it.
Thank you.
I mean?
Like, thank you. I got it.
You know what I mean? So that's my whole thing is I continue to do what I do as well as look out how I can improve people's lives around me, bro.
As you're supposed to, man. You do what you do, and you do it well. No one could do. I'll do Gary Archer. I know that. I see it. I see it all over your face. He's like,
I mean, it's just me though. Like I can't do hustle either. So that's the magic part is when you understand who you are and do what you're good at and don't do what you're not. Like I don't try to do shit I'm not good at. I try to find people good at it.
Right.
Because people good at something, it's usually easy for them to do it. And when you're not good at something, it's usually hard for you to do it. So I learned a long time ago, like, there's someone that loves doing something that you don't like doing. Let's find them.
Yeah, real quick.
Let's find them.
Get them on the
and
hook
you have a couple
right
of dollars to give them, they're excited. Like, what? You're going to let me call college radio for you? I was trying to get in the music business anyways. That's crazy. This everyone's name and number? Oh, yeah. This is what I should tell them? Like, yo, like, I don't, even though I'm great at that, I don't got the time.
Right. And as we get older, our mind's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, that, and that, and I'm done.
So my hype is the things that don't take magic, that I've already done the magic and figured it out, I could actually teach someone else.
Yeah.
Like, yo, go do this. Like, hold on. Like, just because I know how to do graphics doesn't mean that's the best my time spent, right? And that's like, yo, my best time spent is explaining something, showing someone something, and actually coming up with the strategy, not actually coding. Like, bro, like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, we had the idea, we had to find a coder. I wasn't gonna learn coding. That didn't make sense.
That's real talk. Man, Gary, it's a pleasure, man. You always inspired me to do great work, man, and you always do great work. When you back out in LA?
I'll be out there. I'll be out there probably within the next month or so for sure, bro. I need to pull up on you.
Yeah, pull up on me, man. I need some more records. I know you hit me with an email too. I got it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was Avi, the one I sent you. That was Avi. That's that girl.
Okay.
The Baker Boys are gonna start playing the record this week.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, man. So when you get touchdown, bro, please hit me.
Absolutely.
I might be coming to the Bay Area. I'm not sure exactly when. It might be the first of the year or the end of this year.
Well, whenever it is, this is what we do. I know you there, I'm here. So at any time, you don't need an invite. You here, and it's I popped in. I'm pulling up.
Yes, sir. Gary, please give out your information, man, so people can follow you on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff.
No doubt. My name's Gary Archer, GaryArcher. On Instagram, it's Legend Gary Archer. On Twitter, it's Legend Gary. But if you type in Gary Archer on Google, I'm pretty much.
He's a true legend, Gary.
That's Archer legend, Gary. My show's called The Power Hour. I'm on tonight at 6 p.m. I do it on my Instagram live as well as on the radio station's website. But you always want to watch me, man. You don't want to listen, man. You want to see it. You want to see the kid. See the kid breaking records, man. That's all.
Artists, check out Gary Archer, man, on Instagram, YouTube, social media, everywhere all across the board is Gary Archer, and he is a legend. Man,
I appreciate it. So I love you, bro. Thank you for everything.
Hustle, man. Hustle!